Okay, guys, MHP Tribe team. So today we have a special guest. We have Bari and Kirby Horton, extraordinary asset managers, owners, operators with decades of experience here with us for this call, for this quick pulse check, for you to extract insights and their recommendation and advice in this tough times that we're going through right now. So Bari, Kirby, thank you very much for making time.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah. If you don't mind, would you please just share with us where you're coming from today and a little bit about your company?
Okay. Again, thanks for having us. Barry and I are married and have been for some time. And probably about 15, 20 years ago, we first got started in this space, mobile home space, by being a traditional lawney dealer. And that worked very well for us for the first few years. And then we realized that we wanted a little bit more stability and more income and gains from what we were doing, because the lawney homes were working very well for us, but after 3 or 4 years, they paid themselves off and the income stream dried up. So that's when we started into the mobile home park business. And our niche right now is to buy or acquire underperforming assets, parks that have been neglected, parks that need a lot of love, a lot of money, a lot of help. And we improve the value of those parks and then sell them and move on to the next one.
Mm-hmm. That is a very labor intensive work. And that is why probably newer investors, operators, that's why most of us, I would say, shy away from this, because you have to have so much experience and knowledge before you get into this. Otherwise you get burned through cash really, really quickly. So what made you so comfortable? I understand, well, lawney dealers and working with homes is one thing, but now you have the whole park, the whole infrastructure that you're responsible for. What made you comfortable with that?
I don't know that we were ever comfortable with it. It's just that we realized that that was the direction that we wanted to go, the direction that we needed to go, and we needed to learn those items, and we're still learning every day that we get up.
We also noticed early on that it didn't seem that there were very many other entities going in that direction. And again, and our background is also in another niche industry. So we were looking for that because there didn't seem to be any competition, and it really looked like there was a great need for it.
Yeah. And just to note for our listeners, for the MHP Tribe team, how I know you is exactly from your specialty. This is exactly how you became famous for, through because it's word of mouth. You don't need to even advertise, because that's how people get to know you in the industry as a this turnaround specialist. You come in, you just do your job, very targeted, really quick, just results oriented, in and out. So this is one of the reasons that we were able to purchase the park in Pensacola area in Milton, Florida, because my partner Matt, who already worked with you at that point on, I believe, a couple of other parks, he said, "Oh, I will not do it without Kirby and his team," because we needed to turn around the park, meaning convert park-owned homes into tenant-owned homes within a year or so. And this was also kind of quick in and out project. And he said, "I'm not going to do it without Kirby," because Kirby knows how to do it. We're not going to be able to do it ourselves, especially not being present there physically. So yeah, that is definitely a very niche, very specialized skills. And you have a team now, quite extensive team, who allows you to work on this project.
do. We have assembled an amazing team, and it's. I won't take up too much time. I'd love to brag on them.
No,
But we went to each individual. We went to them. They didn't come to us and say, "Hey, can we come work for you?" We sought these people out. We've known them for years in different sectors, and we knew what qualities we were looking for to bring somebody in. And so we do have an amazing team, and they seem to love their work with us too.
that is great. And how do you divide responsibilities? You know, I'm kind of curious how you started on, just two of you, right? You started just two.
Right.
So
Right.
how were your responsibilities divided, and how did you decide to start adding?
It's interesting because the company is divided into two silos, and one silo is operations in the field, and then the other silo is administration, finance, compliance, and then there's sort of a third silo that's a little bit marketing that transcends both of those silos. And from the very beginning, from the very first mobile home that we bought as a Lonnie dealer, Bari has always been in charge of one silo. I've been in charge of the other silo. And then today, as we've gone out and acquired these team members that work for us, and like Bari said, we went out and one team member worked for an insurance company, one worked for Wells Fargo, one retired from Ford Motor Company as an engineer. And we went out, we knew these people, we knew the skill set that they brought to the table, and we purposely, with intent, went out there to acquire them to join our team, knowing which silo they were going to.
They will go.
And so now I have my team of individuals on the operations side. Bari has her team of individuals on the finance administration side. And they do work together throughout the day, the week, the month, the year, but it works very nicely. And the team today, I believe there's 9 of us on the corporate level, and then there's another 16 employees that are actually in the field, in the parks themselves.
That's great. That's great. And so how many total units are you right now covering among, your team?
Right now, we're sitting on 1,200 units that are actually paying rent. 1,200. I'm not sure how many empty lots, but there's 1,200 occupied lots. It's across 12 communities, and this year we have exited, I believe, 9 communities in total. So we're right now, the war chest has money in it. We're looking for more acquisitions to replenish and replace those 12 properties that we've exited from in 2020.
Okay. And what is your geographic area? What is your market?
Primarily the southeast part of the United States, the panhandle of Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. We would entertain South and North Carolina and Kentucky. And that's pretty much our geographic wheelhouse. We want to stay in the southeast part of the United States.
And right now, I know you're on the road. So could you just, tell us why you right now, out of all times, you're on the road, and how are you not afraid? And what are you doing when you cannot really go and physically visit people?
Well, we think it's very, very important that you lead by example. And we think it's incredibly important that you lead from the front and not from the rear. And we have some very valuable employees that are on the front line every day, 7 days a week, taking care of our business. And they provide a valuable service to the residents. They provide a valuable service to the community, to our employees, and to Bari and I. And we feel that we have an obligation, we have a moral responsibility to support those frontline employees and to let them know that we've got their back, to let them know that we're there side by side with them, and how much we appreciate them. So last week, Bari and I rented an RV
for the first time.
30-foot RV, and for 2 weeks, and we're traveling around the southeast part of the United States, visiting every one of our properties, spending time with the managers, spending time with the maintenance people. If the residents have concerns and want to talk to us, we're there for them. We're just basically flying the company flag and showing support for those people who mean a lot to us.
Also, Kettering, I want to mention, we are very blessed with good health, and we do a lot of things to keep our good health and keep our immune system strong. So we have that confidence going out there as well.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Well, on a personal note, I was talking to Kurt Kelly last week, and,
Yeah.
and you know, Kurt is also very much into health, and we were just chatting after the short interviews. And so he's saying, I'm working from home right now. So he was actually in the office. So they were rotating people in the office. And so I said, how are you keeping yourself healthy and strong? And so he said, well, we're doing our best, working out from home, doing things. So you have any health tips?
Hydrate. I say water, vitamin C, zinc, and work out.
That's
and happy. You know, I believe in meditation and doing things to keep your mind at ease, and just don't go down the fear rabbit hole.
Breathe.
Absolutely. Breathing, meditation, water. Absolutely. I totally and absolutely every day, every morning, meditation at least once a day, hydration. It's so important. Now I think it becomes more and more obvious. How can you keep up with what you need to do and lead? I love this. Lead by example and being on the front lines, leading and showing people, not talking, but actually being in action. This is how having strong health and energy, that is all, you know, adds up. It definitely adds up. So thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah.
Thank you for mentioning that. And I wanted also to ask you, so we all know these challenges everyone is going through, you know, financial, of course, tenants struggling. You cannot do some work in the parks, some maintenance work also coming to stop. So that's all obviously struggle. Economies, you know, struggling, obviously affected. So I wanted to ask you, and you, I know that you early on were feeling the pulse, were feeling where it might be going, and you were prepared for it. And when I remember we had a call, I think shortly after the pandemic started, we had a call and said, okay, we have a protocol in place. So could you please share how you made this all happen and how you had us all together and ready?
Sure. We've been very fortunate that our properties have been running very well to begin with. And we've been planning for this without really realizing we were planning for it. And as soon as the significance of this fallout became apparent, we decided to jump ahead of the curve instead of being behind it, and to try to be as proactive as possible. The one thing, we developed a protocol for individuals who were having trouble making their rent payment. But what we did, and I think this was really critical and important, we did not communicate the protocol to the residents in advance. Mm-hmm. We communicated it to all of our corporate employees. We communicated it to all of our office managers, park managers, but we did not communicate it to the residents because, as you well know, there's a good number of people that would take advantage of the situation if they knew that there might be some relief in store for them. And so we didn't want to create a stampede of people seeking relief and seeking assistance. But we did have a system in place to help those who came to us expressing concern and that they needed assistance. And the assistance is not to forgive the rent is still due, but to work a payment plan, to waive late fees, and to develop a payment plan with the resident so that they can recover, stay in their home, get back on their feet. And we showed a lot of compassion and a lot of empathy with the individual. You know, we didn't show sympathy, we showed empathy, and that's important, is understanding the situation that they're in. And for those individuals that refuse to work with us, it's business as usual, documentation, serving of papers. Once the courts open up again, evictions. But for those individuals that are willing to help us, help them, we will see to it that they're well taken care of.
Yeah, yeah. And with that in mind, were there any new, I don't know, measures, any new protocols that you've put in place for your team going forward that you might want to continue using after all this is behind us?
Well, you know, Katrina, last year we started implementing video conferencing with all of our people because we're spread out so far. So we started implementing that last year. We also started moving towards more electronic communication, mass, you know, broadcasting, text broadcasting, broadcast messages, voicemail messages. So we're amping that up. We're speeding up that process. It's something that we already were working on, but we're working even faster on that now. Honestly, I can't say that because of the COVID-19 situation, we're now going to do things differently this way. I really don't think that there's...
No, we were going in that direction anyways, but it does really hit home that, this is going to sound funny, but we all need to be touched. We do, corporate employees do, our park managers do, and our residents do. Everybody needs to feel that they are acknowledged and you know, are worthy, are there. And so through this, I have realized that I need to touch people more often, need to communicate a little more often. That's not what I meant.
Yeah.
But yes, I think in all this isolation and the quarantine, touch is very, very important. And we will continue that. So.
And you obviously have started that, just being physically present, being there. That is.
And I think Barry makes a very good point. You know, prior to this, we were very efficient, sort of in a clinical way. Now I think maybe a more holistic approach and building a community within the mobile home parks. You know, we always work at creating clean, safe, affordable housing. Maybe now we incorporate a little warmth into that and creating a little bit more community. I think that'll help a lot too.
That is a great point. That is a great point. I just was making notes for because these are for operators who I would say investors like myself who especially have a full-time job. So efficiency is everything. So we think, right? But when you go a little deeper and you think about sustainability and the way of organically and sustainably growing your business, this is the way. There is no fast way to build a community. You cannot force a community. You only can grow with it and create it. How? By being there, by leading by example. So that's an excellent point. That is an excellent point. What I also wanted to ask you is, well, there are many questions. What were the points that maybe made you most proud in the past few weeks that you saw your employees, your team is doing, maybe even tenants are doing, something that made you really proud of the work that you've done leading up to these hard times?
You know, it's not just about the money, but something that I find very, very impressive is that March of this year, corporate-wide, all of our properties, was our best collections month ever. We were north of 95% collected. And April looks to be even better. So far, 3 weeks into the month, we've got some properties that are already at 100%. We'll be well north of 95% overall for the month of April. And I think that's a testament to the frontline park managers. It's also a testament to the corporate staff, the regional managers, the district manager, area manager, asset managers, who continue to push and work with the park manager to develop strategies for those collections. So I guess for me, it's seeing people stepping up and seeing the residents. The residents could have very easily used the COVID-19 excuse for not paying their rent.
Mm-hmm.
The vast majority have paid their rent. And I think that's a testament to them as well.
Yeah. And at kind of wrapping this up a little bit, I wanted to ask you for some action points that you might recommend for investors who are just starting in the business or who just have maybe not so many years of experience in the business. What are the action steps they should take to maybe to sustain the business right now and also to strengthen the business going forward? What would be the action points? Maybe even from different sides, from operational standpoint and from, administrative marketing standpoint.
I would say on my silo, which also includes new business development or rainmaking, bringing in new business and then selling the existing parks that we're exiting. Because again, our business model is to buy underperforming assets, improve them, increase their value, and then exit from that property. It's a game of mathematics. You have to understand the math. So you've got to understand the math. Practice, knowing what caps are, what your expense ratios are, how much is a lot worth, an empty lot, what's an occupied lot worth. Just continue to practice that and know how to calculate those formulas very quickly and easily and be comfortable with them. And then one big thing that we've learned is the first thing you want to do when you're evaluating an asset, whether to acquire it or not, is for our business model anyway, you have to develop your exit plan first. How am I going to get out of this property? And then once you figure out how you're going to get out of it and at what price, how can I get into it? At what price can I get into it and how am I going to get into it? Is it going to be an all cash deal? Is it going to be an owner carry deal? Is it going to be traditional bank financing deal? How am I going to get in? Never figure out how you're going to get into the deal unless you know how you're going to get out of it. And then once you figured out how you're going to get out and how you're going to get in, then it's just a matter of executing what you know to get you from A to B. So that would be my take.
I agree completely. It's all about the numbers, and that's why we're all doing it, basically. Intuition and what's the word I want? Sometimes you might get an emotional attachment initially looking at a property. Maybe it's in your, close to a friend or a family member. It's like, oh, this property would be great. Don't go in emotionally. Do not ever do that. And we've done it, and it doesn't work out. And so you got to trust the numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So work the numbers. Gonna do that. Become an expert. Learn the craft. There are no shortcuts as we learning in that business. So that's great. These are great points. And are you taking on currently any new clients for your business as you asset manage for some people? I know you do, but your business was evolving. So I'm, you know, if there is anyone who would listen to this interview and say, oh my gosh, yes, I would Kirby's, Bari's team, I want, you know, to reach out and maybe they will do any projects. Are you still open to that, or are you transitioning to doing your own thing now?
A little bit of both. We don't take on every opportunity that's presented to us.
Mm-hmm.
We pass on more opportunities than we're given. We want to do an incredibly good job whenever we do it, whether it's for our own properties that we're a partner in, or properties that we're just, you know, doing a turnaround for somebody. We will always want to do the best. I like to say that we're better today than we were 6 months ago, but I want to be even better 6 months from now than we are today. So I guess to answer your question, Katrina, I would always entertain ideas, but that doesn't mean that we would always accept a deal. The deal has to be right for everybody. It's got to be a win-win for all parties concerned.
Great. Yeah, great point. So with that, you know, we will, where can people find you if they would like to reach out?
Well, we're in this RV in Macon, Georgia right now.
Come knock on the door.
Yeah, we'll be in Augusta, Georgia later tonight. But I would say the best way to reach us probably is either email or cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Cell phone number is 615-482-0987.
We have a website that is going to be launched in the next week.
Okay, we'll include the link then in the notes.
Yeah.
So that would be great.
Yeah,
Okay,
we took it offline to do some revamping on it, so maybe in the next week or so we'll have it back online.
Perfect. Yeah, and the perfect timing now, right, to do all
Yeah.
the back office
Yeah.
stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for joining. Thank you for making a stop and joining
bet.
live. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
very
That
much.
was a great conversation, and safe
Have a
travel.
great day. Thank
It's
you.
great to see you.
Bye.